What if I told you Arsenal's darkest moment wasn't a defeat, a trophy drought, or a scandal, but something far more devastating, something that almost destroyed the entire club? Arsenal Football Club has lived through more than a century of chaos, glory, heartbreak, and triumph. But among all the highs and lows, there is one moment that stands above everything. A moment so painful that many fans today don't even know how close Arsenal came to losing everything. To understand it, you have to go back to the early 1930s. Arsenal were becoming a powerhouse, not because of money, not because of superstars, but because of one man, Herbert Chapman. He wasn't just a coach, he was a visionary, a pioneer, a man who changed football itself. The WM formation? Chapman. European scouting? Chapman. Numbered shirts? Chapman. Modern training methods? Chapman. He transformed Arsenal from a mid-table club into a machine, and fans believed the future was unstoppable. Then, without warning, everything collapsed. One morning in January 1934, Chapman didn't arrive at training. Players thought it was a cold. Maybe he needed rest. He had never missed a session. But within a day, the news spread with the force of an earthquake. Herbert Chapman had died suddenly of pneumonia. A man who looked invincible, gone in an instant. Arsenal fans were heartbroken. Players were shattered. Journalists across England wrote in disbelief, "Football has lost its greatest mind." This wasn't just the death of a manager. It was the loss of Arsenal's architect. The man who built the foundation, the identity, the entire philosophy of the club. For the first time, Arsenal's future looked uncertain. Everything Chapman created, every plan, every system, every dream, suddenly hung in the balance. Would the rise collapse? Would the club fall back into the shadows? People genuinely feared the momentum was gone forever. Outside Highbury, crowds gathered in silence. Some cried, some prayed, some just stood still, unable to process what had happened. Even rival fans paid their respects because everyone knew football had lost a legend. This moment, this heartbreak, this shock that shook the entire nation. It became the darkest moment in Arsenal's history. But here's what makes the story powerful. Arsenal didn't collapse, they didn't break, they didn't fall apart. Instead, the players and staff chose to honour Chapman's legacy. They continued the work he started. They used his ideas, his structures, his philosophy. And they built a dynasty that dominated English football. Chapman didn't live to see it, but the Arsenal he dreamed of became real. His death was the darkest moment, but his legacy became one of the brightest lights the club has ever known.